Today's novel is a great one. It's a romantic tale. It's a novel Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. In this video, I'll first give you the author's profile, then we'll discuss the plot, some of the important characters in the novel, the theme, and then the message one can get from the novel. But before I start, I would like you to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Now for the author's profile. Margaret Mitchell, the author, is an American novelist and journalist. She lived only for 49 years as she was born in 1900 and died in 1949. Gone with the Wind is her only novel, although she had some writings when she was a teenager. Gone with the Wind won the National Book Award and the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1937. Her gift and her only book to us, Gone with the Wind, would not have been written if she had not had an injury which affected her ankle. During her convalescence, she took the time to write the novel Gone with the Wind, and that was a great gift she gave to the world. Now, for the plot in the novel. This novel has been called the greatest romance of our time. This is the story of a determined woman, Scarlet O'Hara, who thinks she is, assumes she is, and believes she is in love with Ashley Weeks, but without realizing that her true love lay with Rhett Butler. The novel is set against the backdrop of the American Civil War. Scarlet's first husband dies of pneumonia just after the Civil War is declared, and she leaves her hometown for Atlanta. In Atlanta, she strives to survive the war. She remarries at the end of the war by stealing her sister's fiancé, and by scheming and subterfuge, she tries to revive her ranch, Tara, which is her main preoccupation. Her second husband, Frank, stolen from her sister, dies again, and she remarries for the third time to Rhett Butler, who has been there all along, loving her and waiting for her. This is a man who sincerely loves her, but whom she refuses to acknowledge except when it fits her fancy. Her love for Ashley is discovered by her vengeful sister, and events now start to take an odd turn. Scarlet starts realizing the foolhardiness of her love for Ashley when Rhett Butler abandons her, and she loses her baby Bonnie. Melanie, Ashley Weeks' wife, dies, but she does not go to Ashley. Instead, she seeks out Rhett, who is now a broken man and who would not take her back. He refuses to respond to her love, and she is frustrated. Now, the characters in the novel. I will just discuss only 3 of the main characters, and they are Scarlet O'Hara, Ashley Weeks, and Rhett Butler. Scarlet O'Hara, who we will discuss first, is a 16-year-old woman who is ruined at the start of the novel. She is vain, publicity-seeking, and much attracted to men, something which undoes her in the end. As she grows up in the midst of the American Civil War, we come to see her as an extremely strong-willed woman with an incredible determination. She marries twice and loses her husband twice to death. Throughout the book, her fixation is on her neighbor Ashley Weeks and the family ranch Tara. She would harm anyone to have Ashley to herself and would do anything to keep the family ranch Tara. In the end, she realizes her true love did not lie with Ashley Weeks, but with Rhett Butler. But Rhett would not take her back. Now, Ashley Weeks. Ashley Weeks is Scarlet O'Hara's neighbor and he is married to Melanie. He is a calm, scholarly man who can keep his cool even when surrounded by strife and trouble. He fights as an officer in the American Civil War, despite being a conservative. He is lost and uncertain after the war, confused about his place in society. He continually places his family in harm's way by dealing in Scarlet O'Hara. In the end, he tells her that he cherishes his wife Melanie and would not leave her. Now, for the third character, Red Butler. Red Butler is an avid gambler. He is the epitome of the male romance character, strong, tall, and a bit sardonic. He has experienced the ruthless aspects of life much more than Scarlet can imagine. The first time they meet, he shows an honest interest for Scarlet, and he often wonders why sometimes she behaves unladylike, although he appreciates her blunt and direct manner. At Red's insistence, Scarlet is urged to stop grieving about the death of her husbands. He encourages her to start her own business and thereafter proposes to her. Red is devastated that Scarlet could not really love him, especially after they lose their little girl Bonnie. Scarlet is already head over heels in love with Ashley Weeks. But in the end, she runs to him and he fails to accept her. Now, what are some of the themes in the novel? Although the novel is written as a romantic tale, it is not just about romance. It focuses on the ruthless heroine, Scarlet O'Hara, who holds you spellbound as she was captivating throughout the book. There are a lot going in the novel. There is transformation, there is loss, and one can see the deep unfairness of life. People who we may think are unable to withstand the harsh realities of life cave up under it, and those who we regard to be weak are successful when life becomes terrible. The way Margaret Mitchell handles these topics in her book is quite remarkable. The characters are not your usual run-of-the-mill, where characters turn a new leaf at the story's end. But you will notice that there is little happiness in the story. It's all about hopelessness and the madness of falling in love with the wrong person. Walking through this complex novel is very interesting. The heroine, Scarlet O'Hara, is not a likable person, neither is her third husband, Red Butler, likable. We find Red Butler abusing Scarlet after they marry. Then, to make the hopelessness in the tale more pungent, it is set against the Civil War in America. This makes the tale grim as we consider the implications of a romance when people are dying in large numbers. Another idea that resonates in the book is that the road to happiness in romance is a rocky one, and it is not smooth. It is not until the end, when Red Butler abandons her, that Scarlet O'Hara finally discovered that she did not truly love Ashley Weeks, but her love lay with Red. Scarlet has gone through so much looking for true love, just to lose it at the end. What an irony. Now, the moral or the message in the novel. This book has an unusual romantic message, and that is, we could be blind to something that is staring us in the face. This is a concept called willful blindness. In legal terms, this is the act of keeping oneself unaware of facts because one wants to avoid being liable or implicated. We might need someone or a stimulus to realize a fact staring us in the face to help us see. Unfortunately for Scarlet O'Hara, that grim truth becomes her undoing. Sometimes unconsciously we choose to remain unseen when we could know, should know, or ought to know. because it makes us feel better not to know, particularly when one is arrogant. This is the overarching message the author wants us to be thinking about, because many happiness has been lost by willful blindness. So that's the story Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. This story has been called the greatest romance of all time. That is why I decided I had to read it and make it one of my videos. I know you will enjoy it just like you enjoyed this video. And as always, I will encourage you to subscribe, like and comment this video, because I'll be producing more wonderful videos like this. As always, happy reading and see you later.